beautiful humans. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Welcome to Yoga with Ray. I'm Ray. If you have practiced with me before, welcome back. If you're new here, I welcome you. Thank you for giving it a try. General disclaimer, this is Zach. He'll be kind of in and out of the video playing with his toys, but he generally stays pretty quiet. Go ahead and grab some water to have close by. Grab some props if you have them, blocks, maybe a strap, a blanket or bolster for your Shavasana if you prefer to have one. Today's practice is going to be a full body burn, so not focusing on one specific area of the body, but kind of a practice to warm up and engage the whole body. I would just like to kind of say, as a yoga instructor, my goal for teaching is to encourage personal movement. So finding our own patterns of movement. Each of our bodies is so unique in the fact that our conformations are different. So just the way our bones and our muscles and everything work together. And then we each also have our own old injuries and discomfort. So that in itself is going to play a part in the way our movement, just the patterns of our movement. And I say that because I'd like to invite you to not compare yourselves to others. So everyone comes to their yoga mats for different reasons. Me personally, I have always focused on strength, stability, and functional movement. So what can I do on my mat to make my daily life easier? So what work can I put in? What can I engage so that just moving about my daily life, I'm a little more comfortable? Some people come to yoga for flexibility or recovery or, just meditation and breathing. So many different aspects of a yoga practice. And the fact that all of our bodies are unique, I think we need to give ourselves, a little grace in where we start. So maybe we're not as strong or as stable, as flexible as we want to be in our practice, but with consistency, we can make our way there, and we need to allow ourselves to be in the present moment and know that maybe we're not where we want to be, but this is where we are, and we can show ourselves a little gratitude for that and what our body can do, in the current moment. So I would invite you, as we begin our practice, we're going to move into kind of a brief breathing and meditation. And what I'd like you to do is bring to mind why you're on your mat today. So each day can also be different. You don't have to have a general theme for your practice. Maybe it is strength or stability or flexibility, even recovery or self-care, so many different things. And like I said, each one of us are individuals and we have different priorities in our practice. So go ahead and start to bring that to mind as you start to bring your attention here, get all your things together. We are going to start seated, and then also just a general thing, as I like to remind people that, one of the core values or teachings in the first limb of yoga is ahimsa. So ahimsa means nonviolence to all living beings, so others and to the self. And I like to say to the self is because we can't truly practice ahimsa to others if we aren't first giving ourselves that same respect. So nonviolence to ourselves on our mats means not being judgmental of ourselves. So our practice changes every day. Maybe you find that a pose you can normally do very easily doesn't feel that easy today, and that's okay. So give yourself that kindness, just like you would give to someone else, and move on in your practice. Modify where you need to. And of course, if I ever, direct you to do anything that feels uncomfortable, or if you do have an old injury or something, we don't want to move through pain. So we can breathe into discomfort in the sense of, oh, this is hard, or this, stretch really feels a bit intense, but it's not painful. So we can kind of breathe into discomfort, but we don't want to breathe or move through pain. So definitely listen to yourselves, modify where you need to. I'll offer some different variations to things, but if you just want to find a completely different posture than something I say, go ahead. So with that said, we are going to get started. So bring yourself into a seated position. I'm currently sitting on a block, so you can sit on a block, or a blanket, and then just allow yourself to kind of roll forward. That helps tilt the pelvis so you can sit up, lengthen through the spine. Stretch that crown of the head towards the ceiling. Tilt the chin slightly down so you elongate through the back of the neck. And then let the eyes close. Hands can just rest on the thighs. Palm up or palm down. And then start to bring the attention to the breath. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Don't try to change the breath just yet. Just notice where the breath moves. Maybe it's the belly, the ribs, the chest. Notice the state of your breath, so maybe it's a little shallow. Maybe it's slow and relaxed. And then bring that motivation for your practice to mind. So whatever that focus is for your mat today, maybe that's strength, stability, flexibility, recovery, self-care. Picture that word on your inhale as you allow your body to relax on the exhale. Grounding into this space, arriving in this moment so that you can give your attention to yourself, to your practice. And you can start to lengthen the breath, so slowly lengthening the inhale, lengthening the exhale. Finding that relaxation on the exhale. Notice if you have any tension in the shoulders. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. Notice if you're holding any tension in the face. Are you scrunching the brows? Let it relax. Let the mind find that single pointed focus on your motivation. Take a few more breaths. The next inhale, you can slowly open the eyes, bring a little movement into the body. We'll just come into a seated cat-cow. So on the inhale, draw the chest forward, gaze moves upward, draw the shoulder blades together. On the exhale, round through the spine, shoulder blades move apart, chin tucks towards the chest. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Move with your breath. Keep that same breathing pattern. However natural that inhale feels. Natural length of the exhale. Just link the movement to the breath. We are going to move into a standing position in just a moment in order to really begin our practice and warm up the body. Like I said, full body burn. So do not be surprised if you burn. Yoga is not just about, flexibility and stretching. It is also about strength and functional movement. So that is going to be our focus today. One more exhale, round through that spine, pull the shoulder blades apart. Alrighty, make your way into a standing position. I'm gonna move back to my mat. Like I said, have your water close by. And then at any time if you want to rest or feel the need to rest, relax in child's pose, feel free. Like I said, bring yourself to that standing position. So feet about shoulder width apart, lift all 10 toes up. Plant all 10 toes on the ground. Firm up the legs, pulling those patellas into place. Pull the pelvis towards the ground so you take some of that curve out of the lumbar spine. Engage the core, pull the navel up and in. Relax the shoulders back and down. Relax the glutes if they're clenched. Palms forward. Great, guys. We're going to start by shifting the weight over to the left foot, lifting that right foot at about a 90-degree angle, flexing the foot so that you're engaging the leg. I'm going to turn to the side so you can get a better visual. Like I said, just 90-degree. Find a focal point or a drishti, something to keep the gaze, helps with balance. Inhale the arms overhead. Finding that stability. If you're finding stability a little difficult today, you can always put that big toe down on the ground. On our exhale, we're going to come into a spinal twist. So exhale, twisting from the core. So using your core to come into the twist, opening the chest to the side, bringing that right arm back, left arm forward. Inhale, hands go back up. Exhale, open into your twist. Again, twisting from the core, those hips stay forward. Inhale to center. Exhale, opening into your twist. Awesome. Challenging our balance. Shifting our gaze. Do one more, coming through center on the inhale. Exhaling into your twist. Then we're going to come back to center on the exhale. Cross that right foot over the left. So right ankle over the left. Going to come into a side bend. So that left arm can come down. Right arm reaches overhead, stretching through the right side body. Take a few breaths. Anytime we start our yoga practice, we warm up the 6 movements of the spine. So that started with extension and flexion when we were in our seated cat-cow. We just moved into our spinal twist and then our side bend, so our lateral flexion. Alrighty, gonna move on to the other foot. So find that Tadasana mountain pose. That's that standing position where our body is in alignment. Go ahead and start shifting the weight over to the right foot, lifting the left foot in to the air. Engage the leg, flex that foot. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Find your drishti or that focal point. Exhale, left arm reaches back as the right arm reaches forward. Twisting from our core, hips stay forward. Inhale to center. Exhale, opening back into the twist. How's your stability on this side compared to the other? So naturally, we're generally sometimes more stable on one side than the other. And then if you're finding it hard to balance, what are your thoughts like? Are you judging yourself? Because if you are, don't do that. Offer yourself a little grace. Think, I am strong. I am stable. And I promise you are a lot more likely to be stable if you think that instead of criticizing yourself. Alrighty. Bring back to center on our inhale. We're going to lower that leg, crossing the left ankle over the right. Come into our side bend. So let that right hand fall down to the side. Keep the chest open as you reach the left hand overhead. Feeling that nice stretch all down the left side of the body. Find your breath. And then during practice, kind of the places the mind can focus. So the mind can focus on the breath. The mind can focus on the sensations in the body, so how each pose feels. But I do invite you to try to control the patterns and the direction of the mind. So let the mind focus on you in this moment on your mat. So whatever way works easier for you, whether that is with the breath or with the sensation, try them both out. See which one works better. Come back to the top of the mat into Navasana. Ground through those feet, firm up the legs, relax the shoulders, gazes forward. Inhale, arms rise overhead. We're going to exhale, begin hinging at the hips, keeping the spine straight initially, crown of the head reaching forward. And then if it feels okay, go ahead and round forward into a forward fold. Knees may be bent at this point because we haven't quite warmed up the hamstrings. Go ahead, just walk those legs out side to side, feeling that nice stretch through the back of the hamstrings. If you're finding it difficult to bring the fingertips to the ground, or if you're rounding through the spine to do so, you can bring blocks under the hands. Alrighty, lengthen both of those knees, or find your slight bend in both, and then go ahead, reach that crown of the head towards the back. Inhale, half lift, crown of the head reaching forward. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, slowly rise, bone by bone, with the head being the last thing to come up. Let the shoulders relax. We're going to inhale, reach those hands overhead, bring that right leg up like we did to warm up. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears if you find that you're drawing them up. We're going to exhale, open into our twist. Inhale back to center. We're going to exhale, shoot the leg back, right leg back, slowly as we hinge forward, bringing those hands to reach out behind us, coming into our warrior one. Chest stays lifted. You can bring those hands out behind or to the chest. If you find that you're bringing that right hip up, try turning the big toe of the right foot in towards the left leg. Helps bring those hips into alignment. Engage the core, pulling that navel up and in. Really strong pose. Virabhadrasana 3. On the inhale, slowly lower that right leg to the ground, coming into a high lunge. Check in with that front leg. Knee is directly over or slightly behind, but not coming forward. Chest is strong and open. As we exhale, we're going to cactus those arms out. Bend that back. We're going to cactus the arms out as we bend into the back knee, letting it draw towards the ground, but not coming down to the mat. Inhale, lengthening through that leg, pushing strongly through the toes of the back foot. Exhale, finding that bend. Inhale to lengthen. Move with the breath. Then on the exhale, we're going to pause. Find a few pulses, still not bringing the knee to the ground, but pulsing up and down. And then exhale, that knee can come to the mat. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, we're going to move into a half split, bringing the chest forward towards the toes, finding length through the spine. Inhaling forward, stretching into those hip flexors. Exhaling, lengthening that front leg.
downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, finding length through the spine, raise the hips towards the ceiling. Go ahead, walk out those feet side to side, pressing firmly through all 10 fingertips. On our exhale, we're going to shift the weight forward as we bring the knees towards the ground, coming into a floating tabletop. Engage that core, pulling the navel up and in. Exhale, shoot the hips backward. Actually, we're going to inhale as we shoot the hips backward. Exhale as we shift the weight forward, finding that engagement, pressing through the hands. Inhale, back into downward facing dog. Go ahead and move with the breath. Next, exhale, we're going to pause for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Downward facing dog. Inhale, find a slight bend in the knees, gaze forward and make your way to the top of your mat into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, crown of the head reaching forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, engage the core to rise, hands reaching towards the ceiling. Palms come together at the top of the breath. Exhale, hands to heart center. Great, guys, we're going to move over onto the other side, coming back into Tadasana or mountain pose. Going to let the weight shift over onto the right foot as we inhale and raise the left leg. Exhale, find your twist, twisting from the core. Inhale, coming back to center. As we exhale, we're going to go begin to shoot that left leg behind us, moving towards our warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Engage the core, lengthen through the spine, keep the chest lifted. Pay attention to those hips. Try turning that big toe of the left foot in towards the right leg. Hands can be behind you, or you can bring them to heart center. Take a few breaths. On the next inhale, we're going to slowly lower that back leg behind us, moving into our lunge. Press strongly through the foot of the back leg. Pay attention to that front knee. Adjust the knee to it's directly above or slightly behind the foot, the ankle. Keep that chest open. Strong position. Exhale as we bend into that knee and cactus the arms. Inhale to lengthen. Move with the breath. Use your breath as a focus. Next, exhale. We're going to take that pause in our bend and pulse up and down for 3, 2, 1. That knee can come to the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale as we hinge forward, lengthening that front leg, bringing the chest down towards the toes. Inhale forward, stretching into those hip flexors. Exhale, finding that half split. Move with the breath. plant the toes of that back foot, raising that knee off to the ground. Step back into downward facing dog. Feet are about hips width apart, hands are about shoulder width apart. Gonna move back into that floating tabletop. On the exhale, shift the weight forward, knees come down towards the mat without touching. Press strongly into the hands, into each fingertip. Inhale to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale forward, engaging that core. Exhale, hips lift. Inhale, hips lift. Next exhale, we're going to pause for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let those knees come down to the mat. You can move them out to the edges. Let the hips sink back. Hands come forward, coming into child's pose. Take a few breaths. Alrighty, next breath, we're going to all meet back into downward facing dog. And then we're going to inhale, find that slight bend in the knees, gaze forward, and step or walk to the front of your mat, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to rise, hands reaching towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart center. Great, guys, if you need a drink of water, go ahead and grab one. I'm going to move into our second work series. Okay, coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms lift overhead. Exhale, begin hinging forward, moving to your forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, crown of the head reaching forward. Exhale, plant the hands and step back to plank. You can always come to knee down plank as well. Press strongly through the hands, engage the core, pulling the navel up and in. On our exhale, we're going to shift the weight forward, lower down as slowly as you can, keeping the elbows in. Alrighty, once the body is on the mat, those hands should be in about with the collar breastbone. On our inhale, we're going to plant the tops of the feet, press into the hands as we engage the lower back, drawing the shoulders away from the ears in our baby cobra. Exhale to release. Gonna find a little flow here. Really focus on the engagement of that lower back. So yes, you're pressing into the hands, but you're not necessarily using the hands to lift the upper body. Using the back along with the hands to find that lift. So inhale, lift. Exhale to release. Go ahead and move with the breath. So raising on inhale, lowering on the exhale. Next exhale, relax. Bring those hands down by the side. Let a cheek find the mat. And give the hips a little shake side to side, releasing some of that tension in the back. Next, we're going to move into our half locust. So same engagement in the back. We're going to keep the tops of those feet grounded down. along with the pelvis. This time though, we're going to have our hands behind us. The chest is going to be lifted, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and get ready. And then we're going to raise on the inhale. Gaze about a foot, foot and a half in front of the mat. So keeping length in the neck. Pressing into the tops of the feet. Invite the breath into the chest. One more breath. And then release on the exhale. Again, shake those hips side to side. Alrighty, bring those hands back to the collarbone. Tuck the toes. And then move the hips back. We're going to move into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's one of my favorite words in Sanskrit. Alrighty, guys. Fun times, fun times. From downward facing dog, shift the weight forward on the inhale, coming back into that plank pose. What possibly could we do in plank pose to work the body? Alrighty, we're going to alternate lifting our legs on the exhale. So take an inhale. Exhale, you're going to lift a leg. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift the opposite leg. Move with the breath. You got 3, 2, 1. Lower those knees. Bring the knees about hips width apart and move into our puppy pose. Find some nice movement in the thoracic spine. So from here, you're going to begin to walk the hands forward. Bringing the chest closer down to the mat. Out to sink. You can bring the forehead towards the mat. If you want a little bit more of an intense stretch, you can bring the chin to rest on the mat. So this is our puppy pose. On the next inhale, slowly and mindfully start to bring yourself out of the pose, walking the hands back to your knees. You're going to lift up. Bring the hands to clasp behind the back. Open the chest to the front. Finding that nice stretch through the front of the chest and the shoulders. Let the gaze rise. Slowly unclasp the hands. Inhale the hands overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to your mat. Tuck your toes. Lift the hips into downward facing dog. Good job, guys. We're going to lower the forearms to the mat and come into dolphin pose. So forearms will be about shoulder width apart. Hands can be on the mat, or you can bring the hands to clasp together. Whatever works better with the mobility in your shoulders. So coming into that dolphin pose, which is like downward facing dog on the forearms. So hips lifted towards the ceiling. Just holding this pose works up a lot of strength in the shoulders. If you'd like to build a little more strength or give yourself a little challenge, you can join me in dolphin push-ups. So, dolphin push-ups on the exhale. We're going to bring the nose towards the hand on the inhale. Exhale, push the chest back. So inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. Got one more. Alrighty, bring those knees to the mat. Let the hips sink back. Give yourself a little rest in child's pose. walking for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Soles of the feet rest. Shift the weight forward. This next time you can kind of stay with that same movement, or we're going to find a little movement in the pose. So get ready, find your position, lengthening through the spine, letting the weight shift back, float the legs off of the ground, bringing the shins parallel. And then if you like, you can try alternating legs, extending one at a time. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the soles of the feet back to the mat. This next one, whatever is your least favorite variation of boat pose, I would invite you to try it. So maybe that's boat pose in general. It is quite challenging. For me, my least favorite is both legs extended and both arms extended, because I do find it a little hard to keep that integrity and not let myself slump. However, I can do it if I try. So whichever is your least favorite, so maybe that's the most challenging to you, give it a try. If you can only hold it for a second or two, keeping the right kind of alignment, then that is a second or two, more that you can work on in the future. So, coming back, lengthening through the spine, let those hands come out to the side. As you shift the weight back, first come into that general boat pose. And then go ahead, find that variation for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, wow, alright. Bring the soles of the feet together in front of you. We're going to move into our bound angle Baddha Konasana. Crown of the head reaches towards the ceiling. On the exhale, begin to hinge forward, keeping that length. Inhale, trying to, again, find that length. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale to lengthen. And then once you hinge as far as you can go, if it feels okay, you can go ahead and round forward. On your inhale, slowly rise. We're going to roll onto our backs, or gently lower yourself there. Bring your knees in towards the chest, letting your hands come to the kneecaps. Going to guide the knees in little circles, keeping the knees together at first, giving that lower back a nice massage, and then change direction. Then we're going to let the knees move away from each other. So notice how that changes that sensation in the lower back. And then opposite direction. We're going to let the right foot extend down to the end of our mat, keeping that left knee in. Place the right hand on the left knee. We're going to guide that left knee across the body, coming into a gentle spinal twist, keeping both shoulders on the mat. That left hand can reach outward, and the gaze may be up at the ceiling or out over the left hand. Let the eyes close. Allow yourself to start to slow the breath down. With the next inhale, you can slowly start to untwist end of the mat. Use the left hand to guide the right knee over the body, coming into that spinal twist. Let that right hand extend out to the side, and again, gaze can be up at the ceiling or out over that right hand. Next inhale, slowly untwist. You can make your way to your Shavasana. So maybe that's both feet extended to the end edges of your mat, hands resting at the side, palm upward. Draw the shoulder blades together under you with the eyes closed. If you have any kind of tension or discomfort in the lower back, you can bend at the knees, bring the soles of the feet in, and you can place blocks under each knee. Hands may also rest on the belly. Find what's most comfortable for you. And then let the eyes close. Let the breath find its natural rhythm as it slows down from our practice. Let the mind begin to slow down. With each exhale, find relaxation. And do a quick body scan, noticing any areas of tension. Maybe in the legs, the glutes, shoulders, neck, face. As you exhale, release tension. Invite softness with each inhale. Let your mind, the gaze, focus in the space between your eyes. Notice the breath without trying to control it. Inviting in a sense of ease. Know that thoughts may come, and that's okay. The mind is busy, but you can bring the attention back to the movement of the breath, to the space between the eyes. you can begin bringing movement back into the body, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, letting the head fall side to side, maybe rolling out through the ankles and the wrist, and then slowly making your way to a seated position. Maybe that's first by rolling onto one side and using your bicep as a pillow. And then taking your time to lift yourself into that seated position. Coming into a comfortable seat. Take a moment. Notice how the body feels after our practice. I always enjoy teaching, and I always enjoy people who are willing to take time for themselves to focus on really filling your cup, because that is when we are able to give and offer our energy and love to others, is when we do the same for ourselves. So thank you for practicing. I hope you maybe notice something about your movement or your breath that you hadn't noticed before, or just learned a little more about yoga, or kind of your own intentions for your practice. As always, thank you for practicing with me. The light in me